Love Show, where each show is inspirational, delightful, encouraging, and amazing as you are. Live from Atlanta, Georgia on 108 Praise Radio and Clark TV Network, here's your host, Stoney Love.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope that you are having a wonderful, sunshiny day. I know that I am. Although we had the traffic this morning and all the hiccups, I am so grateful to be sitting right here with you this morning or this afternoon or whenever you decide to sit and watch the show. I hope that your day is peaceful, and I hope it is also prosperous. Count your blessings this morning and not your problems. I know that is so easy to say because we have so much on our plate, so much that we have to do throughout the day. And we can see the big mountain, but just forget about the mountain. Just count your blessings and you will see the universe begin to multiply and give you more of the beautiful things that you are attracting in your life. If you're looking to be successful, the best way to be is to be happy. Remember, happiness is a choice. So you can choose to be depressed, you can choose to worry, and you can also choose to be happy. I choose to be happy. And today on the show, later on, we're going to have professional educator, Secretary of Clayton County Secretary Board of Appeals, Miss Atanya Jean Funny. She's going to be on the show today, and we're going to talk to her about her business, her entrepreneurship, her being a professional educator, and so much more that she has going on within the community. And also in the news today, we have some news. There has been a recall on Skittles, Starburst, Lifesavers, and gummies. So if you're eating those, you might want to be careful. And cheese that was sold in 9 states is recalled over listeria concerns. And also, happy birthday to you if today's your birthday. I'm kind of like not following the protocol this morning, but happy birthday to you all this Monday morning. Today is Vin Diesel's birthday. He's 54 years old. Happy birthday to talk show host Wendy Williams. She's 57. Lil Baby, he's 27. And Benzino from Atlanta 11 Hip Hop, he's 56 years old today. Also in other news, Georgia announces its new mental health hotline. We talked about that last week, and it's now similar to 911. It's only 3 digits, but it's 988. So if you know anyone who's having mental health issues, suicidal thoughts, depression, may harm themselves, or meaning homicidal or suicidal, please call 988. And MARTA approves the bus transit line for Campbellton Road in the southwest Atlanta area. So there's a new route that will be coming along in that area for those of you that need transportation. And a man's baby body is still missing after 3 years. The medical examiner sent it by FedEx, and the dead man's body is still missing after 3 years. And monkeypox cases climbed to nearly 100 in the Atlanta area. So you guys might want to be very careful. You want to be very careful with that. And the Fulton County DA plans to crack down on dangerous apartment complex. So if you live in a community that has high crime rate, you will be getting some type of assistance with them having to beef up security, because a lot of apartment complexes do not want to accept responsibility for what's going on the property. They only want you to pay the rent, and they always want to say that it's not their business about what's really going on. So the DA in Fulton County is making sure that they are beefing up security and protecting the tenants. 4 dead after a small plane collide in North Las Vegas airport. And 3 are dead in Indiana, mall shooting, and the gunman was also killed. And so far, most eligible Georgians have gotten their state income tax rebate. So if you were due a tax rebate, you should have already gotten your refund by now. Atlanta's homicide is up for the 3rd straight year, and 2 are arrested in alleged Lovejoy Walmart kidnapping. And with the fall of the Roe versus Wade, the LGBTQ couples are concerned that a fear for the same-sex marriages is next. And the reason why they feel that way is because Justice Clarence Thomas, whether the court, he's debating whether the court should revisit decisions on same-sex marriage, same-sex intimacy, and contraceptives. So there you have it for the news today right here on Clark TV Network. And when we come back, we'll be talking to professional educator, Clayton County Secretary Board of Appeals, Atina Jean Funny. We'll be back after these messages.
Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Board of Appeals, because
Okay.
since it's an official county position, I
Okay.
really don't handle secretarial duties.
Okay.
So just a member of a zoning board of appeals is fine.
Welcome back to the Stoney Love Morning Show. I'm your host, Stoney Love, and happy Monday to you. I hope you had a wonderful and fabulous weekend. And as I promised, we were going to have professional educator, member of the Clayton County Zoning Board of Appeals, Tanya Jean Funny. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did I get that right?
You did.
I tell you, I tried to get it right. I tried. I want to say thank you so much this morning for coming by the studio and chatting with us and to inform us about what you have going on within the community. I did read a little bit about you, and one of the things that struck me was, well, two things was that you were a professional educator and that you have an insurance company that you...
Working on it.
Okay. So I was skimming through real fast.
Yeah.
And that you were promoting that life insurance and health insurance.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that first, and then we'll get to the other stuff. How important is it to have life insurance and health insurance?
Wow, yes. First, thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful day. It is so extremely important, and what I have found in our community, we find out so late. And I can remember as a young girl, someone coming into my dad's shop. My dad was a tailor. So I can remember someone coming in, my dad writing the check. It was like a little folder. He put the amount on there and everything. But my dad never talked to me about the importance of insurance, and especially life insurance. And so, as you know, especially like during COVID, we've seen so many people pass away, and the GoFundMes, oh my goodness, the GoFundMes, which generate very little money toward burying someone. And I just, a few years ago, I was introduced to the insurance industry by one of my fellow alums from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And he wrote us a policy because it was like we had purchased a home. My husband and I have 2 kids. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying to myself, outside of my job, we didn't have any life insurance. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when I was younger, I was so much cuter and finer. The rate would have been so much lower.
Oh, yes, because after you hit 44...
So
and don't be a smoker.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and don't be obese.
And just the educator in me was like, we have to tell our community how important it is. And then as we maneuver through health insurance and things like that, I just feel like as I transition from a traditional classroom setting into more community advocacy, this is just something that our community just has to know about.
My father owns a funeral home, so you can imagine how many people come through there without insurance.
Yes.
And have to ask the county to bury them. That is sad. So if you don't get a GoFundMe, then the next thing you get is a pine box, and the county will take care of you. But no one wants to. If you've been buying Gucci bags and getting your hair and your nails done, you should be able to afford at least $65 a month, because that's on average about what a $25,000 life insurance policy would take care of you, and that's a whole life. You can find a whole life, I believe or not, for about that. On average, if you are a non-smoker, and if you have some health problems and some obesity issues and diabetes, then it's going to be maybe around $80 or $90. Because
it can go up substantially with health. That's why I just like to encourage our community to get the policies young.
Yes, and keep them. Because what about, like, my daughter has life insurance through her car insurance. Do you recommend that? It's through State Farm. However, do you recommend that for young people? Because, most young people like to do bundles.
Oh, that's fine, because all you're getting is a discounted rate because you have multiple policies with one company.
Okay.
But the life insurance is the life insurance policy. So in most cases, the way it's written, even if you decide that you can get a better rate for your car insurance somewhere else, your life insurance policy is still in place.
Oh.
So you just bundled it because they give you a little discount with the bundling. So that's perfectly fine.
What do you think about the companies that you see online that say no medical check, no questionnaire? Do you question those, or are those okay, you think?
It really depends on how the policy is written. Depends on the type of coverage you're going to have. I've found in some of our cases, so we have, you could get a policy where it's what we call instant answer, right? And it's for our younger generation. But I've also found that if they would just do the medical check, they could get a much longer policy, for the same amount of money or less. But because we know that a lot of them won't take the time to go get the medical check, we're like, okay, get something now. So we have an instant answer where it doesn't require a medical check, but you still must meet certain parameters to even qualify for that. And one of the things that a lot of people in our community don't know also, if you are convicted of a felony, you are disqualified from getting life insurance.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't
like
know
that
that
is like one of the main
questions. Is that in the state of Georgia, or is that just...
No, I think that's overall universal. Yeah. Okay. So like that's one of the main questions.
Wow.
And there may be a time period on that, but it just you're going to answer a lot of other questions when it comes to that.
And so many people that are being convicted these days that it is so hard to not distinguish, because as you know, prison or being convicted of a crime is just another form of slavery for a lot of us. So that's another way of saying you can't live here in this zip code, you can't do this because of that, and you can only make this amount of money because now you have an F on your record.
And also remember that life insurance is for the generation after you.
Exactly.
So, I don't know how true the story is, but I'm told that Master P was able to start his record company because he had a $10,000 life insurance policy that his grandfather left him.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure if I haven't talked to Master P, but that's what,
usually...
So, just think, just a small amount of money. Like $10,000 is not a lot of money, but for a lot of families, if, it's invested the right way, it could really boost the next generation. And look what he's been able to do with it. So when you limit people to say that they're no longer qualified, things like that, you're now limiting generations after generations.
Wow, I just learned something today that I had never... I know that they ask you that question, and I know on some of the insurance companies they ask you about your finances, because I know on your whole life you can eventually get a loan from those from your insurance policy. So what's the difference between whole life and term policies?
So when you get a term policy, it is for a term, a specific amount of time. On average, it's a 20-year policy or a 30-year policy that most people get. And with the term, they're going to be drastically less. But the whole point of the term is that when you have more debt, so like if you are a younger family and you have a mortgage and those things you want, if something was to happen to the breadwinner, you have enough money to maybe get scholarship, a foundation for your kids for school, or pay off your mortgage. So you are able to be covered with a lot more for a smaller amount of money. Now, the whole point of term is you're also supposed to take the difference of what you would have paid with a whole policy and invest it it so that your money continues to grow.
Right.
So that when the term is over, either 20 years, 30 years, you have a pot of money to the point where you don't need to have the policy so much to cover you later on in life. Now,
And so a lot of people don't know what term means. So say for instance, I'm 40 years old. Well, I'm 50 years old, and I take a 20-year term. That means if I do not die by my 70th birthday,
yes,
then that policy is no longer in standing.
no longer.
But if I die on my 71st birthday and have not renewed that term policy, and that policy is going to go up.
It's going to go up substantially.
Right, because I'll be 70 at that time. So if you don't choose now at an early age a higher term and pay the lower cost, then when you're 70 and you have to renew for another 10, 15 years, you don't know how, if you're in good health, you could live to 95.
So then they also have like final expense products you can get that will cover some, but it won't be as large as your initial policy. So you can still get some coverage.
Some coverage, okay.
Yes. Now with the whole policy, it covers you pretty much for your whole life.
Okay.
So it'll take you up into your 90s, but you have to continue to pay for that policy.
Okay.
Up until your 90s.
I see. So what about if you work at a job, AT&T, and they have a lifetime policy for you?
Oh, that's fabulous, because most companies don't have lifetime policies
Anymore.
Yeah. So and that was another thing. Like most people, I know when I started teaching right out of college.
Yes.
So in my 20s, and I knew to have insurance, and so my school, the school district offers you a small policy, and you're like, okay, if you want, most of it is not anything additional, but sometimes if you want additional coverage, you'll pay a few dollars more. It comes right out of your check. But today, most people do not stay at a job for 20, 30 years.
No.
And so people don't realize when you leave that job, you leave that policy behind.
Yes.
You're no longer covered. And guess what? If you've been at that job 10, 15, 20 years, now trying to get insurance outside of that, you're paying so much more than if you had gotten the policy when you were in your 20s, a separate policy that you could take no matter where you go.
And that is definitely so true. But so are you now an agent where people can come and get insurance?
I have my license. I have converted from one company to my own.
Ah.
Yes, so I'm in the process.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
So I'm in the process now of contracting my own companies that I'll be able to work with.
Okay.
So I'm considered going into the broker field. So
Right.
instead of me being what we call a captured agent, where I only sell products from one company, I'll be able to sell products from multiple companies. So I am so excited.
Okay.
And then I
like
can
that.
shop around for you depending on, now as a captured agent, if you don't fit the requirements of that particular company, you have to tell your client, I can't service you. But as a broker, when you can look at various companies, you can find a policy that will fit your client. So I am super excited about that.
Oh, that is wonderful. So that means when I call, and if I don't like what Aflac has, you can say, hey, Stoney, let me check with State Farm or Liberty Mutual. And I'll give it
State
something
Farm
like that.
is captured, but there are other companies that you'll be able, you'll be able to choose from. Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about your professional being a professional educator.
Yes.
So school is almost about to begin. Summer is almost over. So parents, I know you guys are excited. I am too. I'm a granny, so I'm like, get out. Go to school. Here's your lunch. Bye-bye. So I understand it's like doing it all over again, but in a different way. So as a professional educator, how do you guys deal with all of the different personalities, parents, children, rules and regulations? When do you know not to just really enforce the rules all the way and you know maybe little Johnny just got some issues, and you just gonna maybe put him outside for a timeout. How do you know when to go by the protocol? Because you get problematic kids, and you know which ones got the potential, and you know which ones are gonna have. Well, let me ask this question: have you ever looked at some of your kids? What grade do you teach?
I was teaching middle school and high school.
Okay, so perfect. This is a perfect example. At this time, the teacher already know, the kids already know, and the mama knows already too how successful this child is going to be. So have you ever looked at any of your students and just knew that maybe this one is going to be very successful without saying it, and this one over here is going to still be struggling, possibly because of the dynamics of his life? And how do you spend the time between the two people? Because one's going to need you a little bit more. This one over here already he got to pretty much. But then you got this guy over here, or this young lady, who really can't focus. She's worried about what we're going to eat for dinner.
Yeah.
My shoes don't look like hers.
Yeah.
You know the thing.
I know.
What kids go through. So how do you choose which one to divide and how to give your time to?
Well, I think when you go into education, you take on everybody's children as if they're your own. And it's a lot. So you start with prayer. Every morning, every night, you have to start with prayer and just ask for the discernment of where do I need to go today. You know what I'm saying? So we might be, and even the thing about it, which our school system really funnels our children to be employees and to go in the workforce and work for someone else. That's the design of it. So they want you to, sit a certain way and do this activity and don't ask questions. And we're now getting out of that mindset of that type of education. So when you give different activities, you will find that that one student that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if they're going to make it, and then they get something that piques their interest and they flourish on it. Whereas you have someone else that's been like straight line, gets all the grades, and then you give them that assignment and they struggle.
Really?
So at times I can tell you about one of my situations when I was younger in school is I'm a scientist, so the way I think is very like methodical. Go 1, 2, 3, get it done, follow directions. If you ask me to do something a little more creative, like you tell me to do some poetry, no. The sky is blue and so are you. Like, it's just not.
It's not there. Yeah.
I am creative in some sense. Like my dad was a tailor, so I've always been around fashion, and I love that part of it.
Right.
But to like sit down, I'm not a poet. I'm not. So I'm going to struggle there. So I'm going to need you as a teacher, and so we see that in our kids. There'll be, you see, I call them kids. Like they're. But
it's okay. Yeah. They still are.
I can tell you an incident when I was teaching in New York. I have like one of my students, her mother passed right before she entered 9th grade. And we had her, and then she was already accepted into our school, right? And then there was a struggle between her biological dad and her stepdad. And goodness. So at the time I was part-time teacher, part-time dean. She would fight like it was nobody's business. And it was a situation, and we just formed such a bond. She is now in her 30s,
really
engaged, has children. If I pick up the phone today to call her, her words are going to be, "Hey, Ma."
Oh, you're about to make me cry.
Yes, and when I tell you, like, 9th grade, when she graduated from high school, I boohoo cried, like ugly cry, because like I remember the mornings when I used to have to call her to wake up, hey, come to school. And when she didn't pass a class, and I would go and talk to my fellow colleague and say, can you please give her this assignment? Retake.
Right.
She missed the test this morning, but she'll be here at 3:00. I'll stay with her while she takes it. And there's so many of those stories,
Right.
So yeah, it's a situation where you look at where the kids are and you just meet them where they are, and you just do what you have to do for
Because
them.
our students are our next generation. And they may not be able to get it at home.
Yeah,
But they have you in the classroom or someone like you
yeah,
that reminds them of mom or auntie
yeah.
that cares.
And this is the crazy thing. So she gets into college, and her other she's working on
You
her.
took her all the way.
all the way. Like my husband and I,
Wow.
when she was getting ready to have her first baby, she had moved from New York to Maryland. We went to Maryland and stayed the weekend with her, took her to get baby stuff, like we were all up in Sam's, like, you're going to need this, you're going to need this, you're going to need this, you're going to need this. I have quite a few of those stories, not to the extent of her, but my students, I've kept my students around. Like, people like, why do you hyphenate your name? Most of my students know me as Miss Jean. And one of the reasons why I hyphenate is that I always want them to be able to find me,
you.
no matter how many years have gone by. So, I love my husband. I love the funny name. I love the funnies. But my name is Jean Funny. It's not anything to do
Right.
with being feminist or, that sort of thing. I'm proud of my Haitian heritage, which is Jean, and I'm also proud of my career in education, which most people know me as Jean, so it's Jean Funny. But
That is
I
beautiful.
love her. I love her.
So there,
Yeah.
there, you answered that question perfectly, and I didn't think it was going to be that perfectly. But when you made that choice to reach out and help that child, you saved her from herself. You saved her from being in bondage of what the world was going to do, is snatch her up and give her a number behind her name. Because if she was fighting to that dynamics,
Woo!
right, she was going to be fighting out in the world. That
Yeah.
was going to change her life.
So I got to tell you, so she goes to college, and she's there. She's in this program, and of course, her college classmates, they're like, "Oh, we did this in high school," and then she called, "Ma, why didn't we do such in high school?" And da 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 da. And I'm like, "You did. It was there.
Right, but you
the
missed
teachers
it.
was teaching it." But remember when you was spending your time in the office with me? That's when that was going.
Right.
She's like, "Oh, okay."
It's like we offer the same thing to everybody, but you missed the boat. But it's okay.
Yeah, it's
But
okay.
she caught up though.
Oh yes, graduated with honors.
Oh, you should be so proud.
Yeah, yeah.
And your hand was all in that.
Yeah.
And so we need more educators like you, who can deal with children like her, or even young men who have behavioral issues or suffer from depression. How do you deal with a young man who's in middle school? Is feeling himself, just starts smelling himself, voice is changing, and
Oh, I have one of those at my house.
how do you deal
He'll be
with that?
13 in September.
That's yes. How do you deal with that?
The best way you can. I've sat with social workers. I've sat with guidance counselors. You try to reach them. I know the charter school where I was working this past year had a male mentorship program that came in every week and met with the young men. When I tell you, they were absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
We really need more of that. And COVID is now getting in the way because now some schools won't let adults in the school building because of COVID.
Right, it's beginning to crank back up
And
again.
it's cranking back up. Yes, I went from a couple months of no mask, and now I have to put the mask back on inside. We definitely need more male mentorship type of programs.
Does the Big Brother, Big Sister program still exist today?
think so, but I haven't heard of it
Okay.
so much where I am.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that I am pursuing is my kids play tennis. You know, they're starting to play
Okay.
tennis. And so I want to pursue that in our community and get more students involved. I just took my first golf lesson. Woo,
I
Jesus.
saw you guys over at the Southern Crescent
Yes,
Women's Center.
yes.
Oh, you ladies were doing y'all thing.
Golf is hard. It's
Wow.
very
It
hard.
looks like y'all was
but, I love it.
Y'all was putting though.
Look, I love the challenge.
Right.
And I want more of our kids to be exposed to those types of things.
And we need to exercise more, because I find that when you, even myself, and I speak of myself when I talk about a lot of things, that when you move more, you feel better.
Yeah.
You release those endorphins in your brain, and you start to feel happy, you feel better. You can see things a little clearly, and you get to release all of that tension. Mm-hmm. And so for young boys that are growing, they need to be active. This couch thing and the games,
Yes.
it just puts more pent-up anger,
And,
aggression.
and on a science level, it helps your digestive system too.
To move.
to move.
Yes, it does. And to drink lots of water.
Yes.
I've increased my water intake because I've been trying my best. And as I get older, it's harder to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to just start drinking water, and the next thing you know, next week I lost 10 pounds. Well, that's not the case.
No.
It doesn't work that
It
way.
doesn't work for me either. I have a big
Right.
birthday coming up.
Oh, when is your birthday?
August 10th. So I have a huge one coming up this year, and I can tell you everything is not the same.
Are you the 5-0?
I am the 5-0.
Oh, me too, in September.
Oh, awesome.
So you're just a few weeks ahead of me.
72 babies.
Yes, established in 72, we are true.
Yes.
True, wonderful people we are. Yes, we are.
Yes, we
Well,
are.
happy birthday if I don't see you.
And same to you.
Thank you so very much. And I just want to say, also I had a question about, you're on the Clayton County member, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Clayton County Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yes.
Tell me what that is.
So it's one of the many boards that all counties have. And this particular board, when a project is approved by the county and they want to build, it could be a development, things like that, but maybe the development is a little bit larger than what the easement says, or they want to put up a fence, but they want the fence to be taller than what the county ordinance says. They'll come to us and say, hey, can we move this particular requirement to here? One of the big ones that comes up a lot is sometimes with our trucks, we have a rule that you have to have these islands with vegetation and things like that, and they'll come in. So basically, they appeal to us, to this particular board, and say, can we just change the rules for this particular project? And it's on a project by project basis. So we meet once a month with different developments and things like that, and we decide as a board how
high your fence can go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Most of the time it's commercial. Sometimes it'll be residential.
Okay.
And sometimes, like, we have situations where something was built and maybe the code changed and they want to revise it.
Oh.
So we have a case where a homeowner had a deck, and since the deck now needs to be rebuilt, but since the time they had the deck, the codes were revised. And so now they have to come to us and say, hey, can we rebuild this deck based on the new code? Because now we would be out of compliance, and they can't get a permit without us saying, yeah, go ahead and do that.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of, when you wake up, your day is pretty full. As an entrepreneur.
A mother of two.
Okay.
Middle school.
Both are
10
middle
and
school?
12, yes. I have a 6th grader and an
wow.
8th grader this year.
Oh, my God.
But I have a wonderful, loving, supportive husband.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's the key. Mm-hmm. And we all need one of those. And so some of us get lucky a little sooner than others. Yeah, blessed. That's right. A lot of us get blessed sooner than others. And then some of us just have to wait on God.
Yeah,
But it's
because
okay.
he's like, what time is it? He's taking them to tennis right now.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
So he's very active.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that takes a load off of you as well. So now tell everybody where they can find you as far as if they want to get insurance, things of that nature.
Yes, so you can. My Facebook is my name. I actually have two because I also ran for state representative for
really?
District 78.
Oh yeah, tell me about. Tell me about. I know I was missing something. Tell me about that. How was that experience?
Oh, it's a wonderful experience. Far as the people you meet. It's a daunting experience, but my passion for education runs in all facets. So representation is huge to me. And if I don't think you're doing a good job and I think I can do a better job, then I'm going to pursue that. Holding our elected officials accountable means everything, because when we pay our taxes, it all goes into one pot.
Yes.
And it's the advocates for their community that brings those resources back. And if we don't, advocate for it, it goes to someone else area. So I'm very passionate about it, and I find like right now we look at everything as federal.
Yeah.
Biden is the reason for everything, and that is so not the case. He is not the end all be all, and I really would like for our community to take a closer look at our local officials, take a closer look at our state officials.
Yes.
And so I ran for public office. My account is still open. I don't know what I'll do in the future, but
So you're still active.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow,
Yes,
that's
I was in
beautiful.
Henry County when Stacey Abrams came last weekend. I was there. If you go to my Elect Jean Funny on Facebook, you'll see my post, and I videotape portions of her speech that I'll release on Instagram, A Jean Funny. Yeah, I can be found.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely be found. And one of the other things that I'm really passionate about is training people to run for office. I don't believe being in public service should be a career-long goal. It should be for a certain amount of time, and then you should leave and let someone else do it.
That is true. I'm with you on that.
But you want to make sure you have people that are trained
And qualified for the position.
that can do it. But we're not the gatekeepers of who's qualified or who can reach a certain person or a certain community.
Right.
So I don't believe in being a gatekeeper either. I just want to lay out, this is how you do it. Because when I ran for office, I looked for training, and I had to go to another county to find training of how to run for office.
Oh.
I knew that I was talented and could do it, but you still need training. So with the Clayton County Federation of Democratic Women, we pursue training people, men or women, that think that this is your passion. So I've run into a lot of people like that also that is interested in it. But yeah, I love life.
Yes.
I love my community, and I tell you, I'm really here to make a difference.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And you have already made a difference. Even if you just, you teach one and you reach one.
Yes.
You've definitely already done that. And so I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by today. And you did tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes. So Facebook, Atanya Jean Funny, Elect Jean Funny is my political page. Instagram, A Jean Funny. You can find me.
And you can find her out on the golf course. She
I'm
likes
on
to,
the tennis court with my kids.
yeah, she likes to be active and she likes to play golf. And I just want to leave you guys with this thought. Sometimes we stare so long at the door that is closing that we do not see the door that is opening.
That's right.
So pay attention, you guys. Let the past go and walk right into your future. And if you didn't know that I was with Dr. Bernice A. King this weekend, she has a new book. It starts with me. So make sure you Google it and pick it up. And it's a children's book.
Oh, nice.
So yes, the name of the book, it starts with me, and the character is Amora. and it stands for love. And we all need love. So tomorrow I'll see you in the morning with Emmanuel, Mr. Emmanuel of Business 101. And I do believe we have Miss Laquel that's going to be here tomorrow as well. We have a long lineup tomorrow. So, and we also have a pastor that has a book launching from North Carolina that is going to be on the show tomorrow. So you guys, I hope you tune in tomorrow. And I will see you in the morning right here on Clark TV Network, and have a fabulous and wonderful day.
And if you would like to be a guest or a sponsor on the show, please email StoneyLoveShow@gmail.com. Only on 108 Praise Radio and Clark TV Network.